Okay, so in this lesson, I want to talk a little bit about layout because you've created this new page and you've got this giant picture, right? And it's probably not quite what you were envisioning for your web page. So you want to arrange the content and organize and maybe shrink the size of the picture. So we need to talk a little bit about layouts. Now, at Itrium, we use a common layout feature called a grid, and we use it for almost everything now. So it's really important to understand the grid. So we're just going to talk about the basics in this lesson. So I've got my page, and I'm going to go edit the layout. So I go back to SitePilot, and I edit my page, which is the same thing I've done for everything we've done so far. And I'm just going to change the layout. So you're going to see when you edit the page, on the Page tab, you're going to have a layout option. And the default is really just to list the content from the top of the page to the bottom in the order in which the content elements are listed in the site. We'll talk about reordering content in a bit. Anyway, I can change the layout now, and I'm going to change it to a grid so we can talk about the fundamentals of a grid. So to do that, I select the layout option, then I just need to refresh my page. And I can do that by just clicking on the Page tab again. And that's going to open up a couple options here. So we basically hide those if you don't need them. But for a grid, you're going to need them. Now, grids in Itrium are 24-column grids. Grids in a responsive layout are 12-column grids. Itrium converts the 24-column grid to a 12-column grid for you for a responsive design. So when you're working in a responsive framework, just make sure you work in even column numbers. All right, so now I've got a 24-column grid, and then I'm just going to decide how much room each of these elements is going to take. So I could do things like 12, and that would mean each one's going to take up 12 columns. But I might want to make it one bigger than the other. So in my case, I'm going to say the first one is going to take up 18 columns. That's going to be 3/4 of the dimensions, right? 18 divided by 24 is 3/4, and then I'm going to put a semicolon, and then I'm going to put in 6. So I want these two numbers, or 3, or however many numbers you have for your grid cells, to add up to the total width of the grid. All right? Then I just save it. I return to my page and refresh it. There you go. Now I've got a new grid layout, 24 columns, 18 for my HTML element, and 6 for my picture. That's it for introduction to grid layouts. Simple and easy.